He thought he was untouchable. He thought that because he had money, a famous name, and a smile that could charm the devil, he could get away with murder. He thought he could break his best friend, steal his woman, and still sit on the throne at the end of the day. But he forgot one thing. Kings can be overthrown. Empires can be burned. And when you go to war with a dragon, you don't just lose the battle. You lose your name, your legacy, and your very existence. 48 hours ago, Liam Sterling was the most powerful man in Seoul. Today, he is waking up in a nightmare. And the man he tried to destroy isn't coming to kill him. He's doing something much, much worse. He is going to erase him. Welcome back for the finale. This isn't just about revenge, it's about justice. It's about watching a narcissist lose the only thing he actually loves, his reflection. Grab your tissues, because this ending is going to heal something inside of you. Let's finish this. The beep of the heart monitor was the first thing Liam heard. It was a steady, rhythmic annoyance that pulled him out of the drug-induced fog. He blinked his eyes open, expecting the high thread count sheets of his penthouse or the soft lighting of a VIP suite at the private hospital he donated millions to annually. Instead, he saw fluorescent lights humming with a dying flicker. He smelled antiseptic and old bleach. He tried to raise his hand to rub his eyes, but his arm jerked back, stopped short by a cold, metallic clinking. He looked down. A steel cuff was locked around his wrist, chaining him to the metal railing of the hospital bed. Panic, sharp and immediate, flooded his chest. He sat up, ignoring the throbbing pain in his shoulder where the bullet had grazed him. "Nurse," he screamed, his voice cracking. "Get in here, who put these on me?" The door didn't open immediately. He pulled at the cuffs, the metal biting into his skin. This had to be a mistake, a formality. He was Liam Sterling. He didn't get handcuffed. He had dinner with the police commissioner last week. "Lawyer," he shouted, his voice rising to a hysterical pitch. "I want my lawyer. I want my phone. Do you know who I am? I own this hospital." The door finally swung open. It wasn't a nurse. It wasn't his high-priced legal team in their Armani suits. It was a woman he didn't recognize, wearing a rumpled gray suit, carrying a battered briefcase. She looked tired. "Mr. Sterling," she said, not bothering to look up from her file. "Please lower your voice. You are disturbing the other patients in the ward." "Ward," Liam scoffed, laughing incredulously. "I'm in the VIP wing. Get these cuffs off me. And where is Park? Where is my legal counsel?" The woman walked to the foot of the bed. She didn't look intimidated. She looked bored. "Mr. Park resigned yesterday morning," she said flatly, "along with the rest of your legal team. I'm Ms. Cho. I'm the public defender assigned to your arraignment." "Public defender?" Liam stared at her. "Is this a joke? I don't use public defenders. I have millions of dollars in retainers. Call the firm. Tell them if they don't get down here in 10 minutes, I'll ruin their reputation." Ms. Cho finally looked at him. Her eyes were filled with a dull pity that enraged him more than anger would have. "You don't have millions of dollars, Mr. Sterling. Your assets were frozen 48 hours ago by the federal prosecutor. Your bank accounts have been seized under the RICO Act due to the evidence provided by everyone. The witness you paid off, the warden you bribed, they all talked." Liam went cold. "No, that's impossible. I have offshore accounts. I have." And this morning, Ms. Cho interrupted, checking her watch. The board of directors of Sterling Tech held an emergency vote. "You have been ousted as CEO, effective immediately. They also voted to strip your name from the building to protect the stock price." Liam sat back against the pillows, the room spinning. Stripped, ousted, frozen. "It's a trick," he whispered. "It's Yi Min. He's doing this. He's trying to scare me." Ms. Cho closed her file. "The arraignment is in an hour. You are being charged with attempted murder, conspiracy, bribery, and racketeering, without bail. I suggest you save your energy, Mr. Sterling. You don't own the city anymore. Technically, you don't even own the suit you came in with, since it was logged as evidence." She turned to leave. "Wait," Liam screamed, rattling the handcuffs. "You can't leave me here. I am Liam Sterling. I am the king of this city." The door clicked shut, muffling his screams, leaving him alone with the beeping monitor and the terrifying realization that for the first time in his life, his name meant absolutely nothing. Across the city, in an office that overlooked the Han River, the atmosphere was very different. It was quiet, peaceful. Yi Min sat behind his mahogany desk. He wasn't wearing the prison uniform anymore. He was dressed in a charcoal suit, crisp and immaculate, his hair styled back, the dragon tattoo peeking out from his collar as he leaned over a stack of documents. Jessica sat on the leather sofa near the window. She was holding a cup of tea, watching him. She looked different than she had at the engagement party. The fear was gone from her eyes, replaced by a quiet, steady exhaustion. She was healing. Yi Min signed the last document with a flourish of his fountain pen. He set it down and looked at her. "It's done," he said softly. Jessica sat up. "What's done?" "Everything," Yi Min said. He stood up and walked over to her, sitting on the coffee table so he was facing her. He held out the file. "I didn't just fight the charges, Jessica. I liquidated him." Jessica took the file. She opened it. It was a list of assets: Liam's penthouse, his yacht, his cars, his shares in the company, all of them sold or transferred. "He used his money to build a cage for you," Yi Min said, his voice low and intense. "He used his influence to terrorize us, so I took it away. I bought the controlling stake in his company this morning. I dissolved the board. I'm selling the tech division to a competitor and using the capital to fund a new initiative." He turned the page for her. "And this," he said. Jessica looked at the document. It was a property deed. It was the deed to the restaurant where Liam had humiliated her months ago, the place where he had grabbed her wrist and bruised her. "I bought the building," Yi Min said. "I was going to burn it down, but I thought that was too easy." Jessica looked up at him, tears swimming in her eyes. "Then what?" "It's yours," Yi Min said, "to turn into whatever you want. A gallery, a shelter, a studio. Take the place where he tried to make you feel small and turn it into something that makes you huge." Jessica dropped the file. She reached out and touched his face, her fingers tracing the sharp line of his jaw. "You erased him," she whispered. "I told you," Yi Min said, turning his face to kiss her palm. "I saw you first. And I wasn't going to let his shadow touch you ever again." But a shadow, even a fatting one, fights hardest just before the sun sets completely. A week later, Jessica was in the kitchen of Yi Min's penthouse, her home now, making coffee. The morning news was playing softly on the television. She felt safe. For the first time in months, she wasn't looking over her shoulder. Then, the anchor's voice changed. "Breaking news in the Sterling scandal," the reporter said. "A source from inside the prison has leaked information suggesting that the fall of Liam Sterling may have been an orchestrated setup by his former fiancé." Jessica froze. She turned up the volume. The screen showed a photo of her, one taken at the gala where she looked terrified, but the caption read, "The Black Widow." According to the source, Jessica Kim manipulated both men, playing the billionaire CEO against the shipping magnate to secure a fortune. Claims suggest she planted the evidence in Sterling's home herself. The mug dropped from Jessica's hand. It shattered on the floor, hot coffee splashing her bare legs, but she didn't feel the burn. "He's doing this," she whispered. "Even from a cell, he's doing this." Her phone started buzzing. Unknown numbers, journalists, trolls. The internet was already turning on her. The narrative was shifting. Liam was painting himself as the victim of a femme fatale, and the world loved a villainess. Panic clawed at her throat. She couldn't breathe. He was going to ruin her. He was going to drag her name through the mud until she had nothing left. Strong arms wrapped around her from behind. "Turn it off," Yi Min's voice commanded. He reached over and clicked the remote. The screen went black. He pulled her into his chest, rocking her gently. "He's lying," Jessica sobbed, clutching his shirt. "Everyone is going to believe him. I'm going to be the villain. He's going to win, Yi Min. He's going to win." Yi Min turned her around. He gripped her shoulders. His eyes were furious, but not at her. "He is flailing, Jessica. He is a drowning man trying to pull you under with him, but he forgets who he is dealing with." Yi Min walked to the counter and picked up his phone. He dialed a number. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He spoke in a voice that was terrifyingly calm. "This is Yi Min. You are running a story based on a leak from a disgraced inmate charged with racketeering. If that story runs for one more hour, I will buy your network and turn it into a parking lot. Retract it. Issue an apology. And find out which guard let him use a phone." He hung up. He looked back at Jessica. "Get dressed," he said. "Where are we going?" she asked, wiping her eyes. "To finish this." The Seoul high-security prison visitor room was a cold, sterile place divided by a sheet of bulletproof glass. On one side sat Liam Sterling. He looked terrible. His hair was shaved, standard procedure for lice control, they claimed, but it stripped him of his golden halo. He had lost weight. His prison uniform hung off his frame, but his eyes were still bright with a manic, desperate energy. He was smiling when the door opened. He expected his public defender, or maybe a journalist. When Jessica walked in, his smile faltered. She was wearing a white coat, pristine and sharp. She looked tall. She looked untouchable. Behind her, standing by the door like a sentinel, was Yi Min. He didn't sit. He just crossed his arms and watched. Jessica sat down on the metal stool. She picked up the phone receiver. Liam picked up his. His hands were shaking slightly. "You came," he said, his voice crackling through the line. "I knew you would. I knew you couldn't stay away." Jessica looked at him. She searched for the fear she used to feel. She searched for the intimidation. But all she saw was a sad, small man in a gray jumpsuit. "Stop the leaks, Liam," she said quietly. "It's over." "It's never over," Liam hissed, leaning closer to the glass. "Do you see the news? They're asking questions, Jess. They're wondering if you're the monster. I can spin this. I can make them hate you. Or..." He lowered his voice. "Or you can tell them you were coerced. Tell them Yi Min forced you. We can make a deal. I have money hidden. We can run away. I forgive you, Jess. I know you were scared." Jessica stared at him, bewildered. "You forgive me? You tried to kill him. You framed him. You treated me like a prisoner in my own home." "I did it for us," Liam shouted, slamming his hand against the glass. The guard stepped forward, but Yi Min held up a hand, stopping him. "Let him talk." "He's a criminal, Jessica." Liam spat, pointing at Yi Min. "Look at him. He's a thug with a tattoo. I am a Sterling. I am the catch. I saw you first. I claimed you." Jessica closed her eyes for a second, taking a deep breath. When she opened them, they were clear. "That's your problem, Liam," she said. "What?" "You keep saying you saw me first," she said, her voice steady and strong. "Like I was a car on a lot. Like I was an object you spotted before anyone else." She looked over her shoulder at Yi Min. He met her gaze, his expression soft, full of pride. "You looked at me, Liam. You looked at my face, my body, my resume. You saw a trophy that would look good on your arm, but you never saw me." She turned back to Liam. Yi Min didn't care if he was first or last. He didn't care about owning me. He cared about knowing me. He saw the sadness I hid. He saw the dreams I was too scared to speak about. He saw the person, not the prize. Liam's face twisted. "Don't give me that romantic garbage. He's going to get bored of you." "No," Jessica said, standing up. "He won't, because he doesn't treat people like toys." She hung up the phone. "No," Liam screamed, slamming the receiver against the glass. "Don't you walk away. I can still ruin you. I am Liam Sterling." Jessica turned to Yi Min. She held out her hand. "Ready?" she asked. "Ready," he said, taking her hand. They walked toward the door. Behind them, Liam was screaming, his voice muffled by the heavy glass. "Jess, look at me. I made you. You are nothing without me." Jessica paused at the door. She didn't turn around. She just squeezed Yi Min's hand. "He's loud," she noted. "Ghosts usually are," Yi Min said. "They hate being forgotten." The heavy steel door slammed shut, cutting off the sound of Liam's voice, sealing him in a box of his own making. Silence descended. Beautiful, heavy silence. Jessica took a deep breath. The air in the hallway smelled of floor wax and old coffee, but to her, it smelled like the cleanest air in the world. "What happens to him now?" she asked as they walked out into the sunlight. "Nothing," Yi Min said. "He stays there, he screams, and the world keeps turning without him. In a year, no one will remember his name. That is his punishment, irrelevance." They stepped out of the prison gates. The sun was setting, painting the sky in strokes of violent orange and soft purple. A black car was waiting. Yi Min opened the door for her, but before she got in, he stopped her. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, velvet box. It wasn't a ring, not yet, it was a key. An old iron key. "What is this?" Jessica asked. "I bought a small house," Yi Min said, looking a little sheepish, rubbing the back of his neck where the dragon tail ended. "In France, outside of Paris." "Paris? You said once that you wanted to see the art there, that you wanted to get away from the noise." Jessica looked at the key, then at him. "I thought, maybe we could go for a while, just us. No business, no wars, just us." Jessica smiled. It was a real smile, one that reached her eyes and lit up her face. "Just us," she repeated. 6 months later, the gallery in the Marais district of Paris was buzzing with quiet excitement. It was the opening night of the New Dawn exhibit featuring artists who had rebuilt their lives after trauma. Jessica stood in the center of the room, wearing a simple black dress that let her work shine. She wasn't wearing diamonds. She wasn't wearing a collar. She was wearing a simple silver band on her finger, one she had chosen herself. She was speaking to a critic in fluent French, laughing at a joke, her hands moving expressively. In the corner of the room, leaning against a pillar, stood Yi Min. He wasn't guarding the door. He wasn't checking the exits for threats. The dragon was sleeping. He was just a man watching his wife shine. A photographer approached him. "Excuse me, monsieur," the photographer said. "You are with the artist." Yi Min smiled. His eyes crinkled at the corners. The darkness that used to live there was gone, replaced by a deep, abiding peace. "Yes," he said, "I'm with her." "She is magnificent," the photographer noted, looking at Jessica. "She commands the room." "She does," Yi Min agreed. Jessica looked up. Her eyes found his across the crowded room. It was a connection that cut through the noise, a tether that could never be severed. She excused herself and walked over to him. She didn't ask if she looked okay. She didn't ask if he was bored. She just took his hand, threading her fingers through his, her thumb brushing over the ink on his knuckles. "Ready to go," she whispered. "But you're the star," Yi Min said. "You should stay." "I've had enough spotlight," she said, leaning her head on his shoulder. "I just want to go home, to our garden." Yi Min kissed the top of her head. "Okay,"